Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to another video. Okay, so I've been on hiatus for a little bit, but I've been reading a lot lately and I wanted to update you guys on kind of what I've been into, what I've been getting into, how I've been liking it, and what I'm going to start reading. So I'm going to start, I think I read 4 books in the past like 3 weeks or something, 2-3 weeks. It's been kind of insane. I've been shocked at myself how much I've been reading. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So the first book that I read, it was actually a recommendation by a neighbor. My neighbors and I started like swapping books a little bit. And so I gave them some of my books and they let me this book and said it was incredible. I needed to read it. And I had never read any books by this author. I know one of their books was extremely popular, didn't read it, like didn't know what it was about, like couldn't tell you, was not excited for this book at all, to be honest. I just felt like, oh, I don't even think this is really my vibe. They gave it to me, they wanted me to read it, they read the books I lent them, so let me just give it a chance. And it was 5 stars, like 5 out of 5, loved it. And it's Pony by RJ Palacio. And in this story, we follow young Silas. I believe he's 12 years old, after his dad gets taken in the middle of the night by a group of 3 men who work for a criminal master. So his dad is taken in the middle of the night. His dad tells him to stay home. He'll be back. He'll sort out whatever business this is. And Silas feels like something's wrong here. And so he leaves also to go after his dad to make sure that everything's okay on this white-faced pony with his ghost friend Mittenwool, where he just like goes on this adventure. Like truly it's an adventure story. It was so fun. I like found myself really thinking about this book, like, okay, wait, what's gonna happen next? Like, where's his dad? How does this add up? It was so interesting. Definitely historical vibes. I don't know what to say about this book except it was fun. It was truly an adventure. There were spooky parts in it where I was a little bit creeped out. I could imagine this being made into like the most wonderful movie. I was just picturing the entire thing in my head. The writing disappeared and I was truly in the story. I actually really loved this book, gave it 5 stars. And after this book, I was like, okay, now I'm ready to read. Like I'm ready to get back out of my reading slump and like really devour some books. So thank you, neighbors, you know who you are, for lending me this. And if you haven't picked this up, please pick this up. The other book I was talking about is Wonder by RJ Palacio. I haven't read it. I don't think I'm going to read it. I love this work, but I think that's just a different type of story for me than I'm like used to. But I don't know, who knows? Maybe I will pick it up. But Pony by RJ Palacio, 5 out of 5. Like highly recommend. So then I was looking around the bookstore trying to figure out what I wanted to read next, and I saw this beautiful cover jump out at me, and I was like, what is this? And it's by an author I read before, and that author and loved before, and that author is Isabel Ibanez. I read Woven in Moonlight by her. I know it's kind of a duology where it follows, it's like Bridgerton in the sense where the first book follows a couple characters and the second book follows 2 new characters but in the same world, or like related, whatever. And I loved the first book so much that I just like was too scared to pick up the second one because I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna fall in love with these characters as much as I already love the characters that I was involved with. So I didn't pick up the second book. Kind of that was all I had heard about her from then. She hadn't had much else published, but I saw that she published What the River Knows, and first I saw Where the Library Hides because it's new. But then I was like, oh, it's a duology. Let me just pick up the first one. That also sounds so interesting. And oh my God, I think I finished this in 2 days. 3 days. Like I was obsessed. When I wasn't reading the book, I was thinking about the book, guys. It's like Indiana Jones meets National Treasure meets Bridgerton, late 1800s, Egypt. We're talking about an Argentinian girl. She's around 19 years old, and she travels across the sea to Egypt after her parents go like missing / murdered. We don't know. And she's trying to figure out what happened to them, what's going on here. She goes on all these adventures. We're on excavation sites. We're on boats. We're, riding down the Nile. Beautiful, lush Egypt. Again, another one where the writing literally disappeared and I was entrenched in the story. Guys, I was into this book. I finished it at like 3 a.m, flipped to the last page and was like pissed, like so pissed. The book was incredible. And then you flip that last page and it drops a little hint at something and you're literally like, I'm gonna rip all of my hair out. Are you joking me right now? And of course it was 3 a.m, so I wasn't gonna pick up the second book right then and there. But like if I could have, I would have. But I went to sleep. I woke up the next day and I picked up Where the Library Hides. I had bought both of them at the same time because I figured I would love her writing. The story sounded really interesting. And thank God I did, because I devoured this book too. Maybe finished this one in another 2-3 days. Stayed up till 2 in the morning finishing this book. It was such a great conclusion to the duology. Like, I'm so sad that I had to leave this world behind. It was one of those books where when you put it down, you're literally like, what do I do with my life now that this is over? Like, I don't know what to read next. Like, I was just so sad that I was leaving this world, leaving these characters. Like, I loved it so bad, but like the way it wrapped up in the ending, you couldn't even be upset because it wrapped up so well. Everything was perfect. I was just like, oh, there's no reason to keep going except I just want to keep, talking to these characters and engaging with them. It was so fun. And especially as like a Latin Muslima, like parts in the book where she was like speaking Spanish and I'm like, oop, I know what's going on here. I know, parts of that like Hispanic Latin, culture that was popping through. That was so fun to watch it play out in a place like Egypt, where when they were sneaking around, she would be talking about how, oh, the Fajr Adhan is going off, or like as the people were making their sunset prayers, we were doing this. And like just that duology, again, the landscape, the history. I'm like, I love history, especially art history. It's like got a touch of magic. I just like loved it. I can't rave enough about this duology. That I think it's called the Nile duology by Isabel Ibanez. Read it read it, just read it. If you like books, if you like stories, it doesn't matter what you like. I feel like there's a little bit in there for everybody. It's like action packed. Again, it's like Indiana Jones, National Treasure, Bridgerton, all in one. And I couldn't get enough. I couldn't get enough so bad that I was like, I will read anything Isabel Ibanez writes. And I picked up Together We Burn. It's a standalone fantasy romance. It gives like, they're dragonadores, which is like, it's bullfighting, but with dragons. And there's also flamenco dancing. There's beautiful, rich culture, like scenic vibes. It feels ancient, but in more like like a book of life kind of way. Like that was the setting I kind of imagined. And I loved it. The romance in here, like I love the trope when the men are like, how do I say? They're just like brooding. I just love when the men are like rolling their eyes and then the girls are hella persistent. They're just like, okay, whatever, I don't even like you, I need you to do a job, like get with the program, sir, like get over your ego, I need you to do this job and let's keep it moving. And then they end up falling in love and it's like, so good. I do think that like I enjoyed this a little bit less than I enjoyed the Nile series, and I think it's because this was put out before. Her writing style definitely has evolved and changed through each book. I found that in this book there were a few very small parts of the book where I was taken out because the way the phrasing or something was a little bit off. Also in the Nile series, I enjoyed like the little hints of Spanish. It wasn't a lot. It was just little hints thrown in here and there, and they weren't translated. It was like you could use context clues to figure out what they said. I'm still learning Spanish, so I didn't know everything that they were saying, but I could get a lot of it. But you could use context clues to figure out what they said. And in this one, I think there's a little bit more translating what was being said, and I was like, I just feel like I'm reading the same thing twice. Like for those of us who do know both languages, it's like we're reading the same thing twice. I prefer what she did in the Nile series, which was she dropped it in here and there and you could get at what they were saying. You're like, okay, that's what they said. So I enjoyed that. But this book was still super amazing, really fun story. I'm upset that like I'm done reading her books. Like that's it. Like put out something else. Also, all of these have just made me like, please put out an adult fantasy book, please. An adult romantasy book. Please, 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 and thank you. Like, we're craving it. We need an adult fantasy from Isabel Ibanez. Like, I love her storytelling. I love the historical settings that she always puts in her books. Like, she does so much work, and you can tell when you're reading it, she does so much work to properly represent the cultures that she's displaying in the books, and I just super appreciate it. I also just love reading about like Latin main characters. Like, I feel like we don't get enough of them, especially not enough of them done well, and I just like so enjoyed it. I also enjoyed the diversity of like the characters in here. Like, she talks about the different skin tones and the different styles and the hair, and I just love all of that. Same thing in the Nile series. In my head, I imagine everybody to like look like me anyway, to like be black or whatever, or be Hispanic, or like something that I can relate to anyway. But like, it's better when they actually just are that. when there is actually just a diverse set of characters, that's always better because I don't have to like stretch it mad far. I can just be like, oh yeah, okay, well this guy's this and this person is that, and it's just so much more fun. It's realistic. That's the world I live in, especially for us like Latinas. We live in this world where we're all diverse. Like all of our families are a splattering of mad different skin tones, mad different hair textures, eye colors, all of that stuff. So that's what I want to read about, you know? So anyway, I blew through that, I feel like, because I was just so excited about all this stuff that I read. But that's really what I've been reading. That's the bulk of it. I read it all so fast, like so fast, guys. If you haven't picked up Isabel Ibanez, this is low-key just like an Isabel Ibanez fangirl video. But yeah, what I did do after I read the Nile series was plan what I was going to read next, because after I finished that series, I knew like once I felt that sadness, even after I finished the first book, I was like, I'm going to need something to like jump right into after this, or else I'm going to just like crash and burn and never want to pick up another book again because I don't think it'll be as good. But that's when I had planned to read Together We Burn. And I had also planned to begin An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. I'll read you guys like the back, but I just heard it was really great. Fantasy romance. I think set in like, I don't really know what's going on in here, to be fair. I heard it was really good. I heard it was good fantasy romance. I'm glad that a lot of them are out so I can binge it. I've heard that people rave about Sabaa Tahir. And I think that this is going to be right up my alley. So I'm excited to jump into this. Inshallah, like I really enjoy it. Similar like how I've been enjoying these. So yeah, so this says, Leia is a slave, Elias is a soldier, neither is free. Under the Martial Empire, defiance is met with death. Leia and her family do not challenge the Empire. They've seen what happens to those who do. But when Leia's brother is arrested for treason, she is forced to make a decision. In exchange for help from the rebels who promise to rescue her brother, she will risk her life to spy for them from within the Empire's greatest military academy. There, Leia meets Elias, the school's finest soldier, and secretly its most unwilling. He and Leia will soon realize that their destinies are intertwined and their choices will change the fate of the Empire itself. Sabaa Tahir spins a captivating, heart-pounding fantasy, glows, burns, and smolders, spectacular, great. Give me 100 of them. Like I don't know. Somebody did recommend this for me as well and said like they think I would love it, and I had heard it so many times. I had seen it. I had seen her name so many times that I was like, okay, I guess I just need to pick this up and like get moving with it. So I really hope I love it. I love anything with like rebellion, revolution, politics, like militancy, undercover spies, like all of that. Give it to me, especially if we can do it in a fantasy world or like super futuristic sci-fi vibes. Like I love all of it. And then when you throw in a dash of romance, give it to me. Like that's my vibe. That is truly all. That's all me. That's all me. So I'm excited to dive into this. It seems like decently thick. Let's see how many pages it is. A little over 400 pages, this one, and I believe there's 3 other books in the series. So I'm excited to get to those. Inshallah, I enjoy it. I'd love to read City of Brass, that trilogy. I believe it's a trilogy, that trilogy as well, in the future. And if I really super enjoy this and I enjoy her writing, then maybe I'll even pick up Air. I know that's like a new release by her, so we'll see. But yeah, that's really all. I was gonna do an earlier video saying like what I wanted to read in December, but I just feel like I don't know. I didn't think I was gonna read enough. I thought I was gonna read maybe 1 book this month, but clearly I was lying to myself because this is not 1 book. This is many books, like at least 1,000 pages. Yeah, and I've been enjoying the escapism. I've been enjoying hopping back into fantasy. I was reading a lot of nonfiction and things like that. I'm still working my way through Ta-Nehisi Coates' Between the World and Me. I've been rereading it. I read it in college and I just feel like it's so relevant to now. I just wanted to read it again and get like the full breadth of it with the different knowledge I have and experiences I gained in the world. So I'm still reading that, but I just felt like I was doing so many heavy things. This past year especially, I've just been doing a lot, as far as being in the advocacy space. And I just felt like I needed something to like escape into, and like too much escapism is no good. Trust me, I'm still outside. I'm still here for the people. We're still getting it going, because we have to change the world. Nobody's going to do it for us. If we want to see change, we have to do it ourselves. And I am a faithful believer in that. And as a Muslim, I know that it's my duty to make the world as best as it can be, to do as much as I can to curb injustice where I see it, and to, be a positive light in the world as best as I can. So 100% I'm still outside, but also like I need to take care of myself, guys. Like I needed some escapism, I needed some romance, I needed some fantasy, some imagination in my life so I can continue to envision like the brighter future that I want to see for us, so I can continue to like have hope and like, engage in these stories where I get to like dive into these different worlds and see how the characters handle it and all of the things. So I'm excited. Also, this cover is freaking beautiful. All of these covers are stunning. Like, guys, I don't know if I'm going to insert pictures or if I'm just going to show you them, but truly, Isabel Ibanez, who designs these? Hold on. As a designer and illustrator, I feel like you guys deserve to know. Michaela Alchino, and the end paper art by Alice Blake. Yeah. So incredible. I love it. And I wonder if that's the same person who designed this one. And it is. Michaela Alcaino or Alcaino. I don't know what the accent is, but these are incredibly beautiful. And this one, also done by Michaela Alciano. I'm saying Alcaino. Michaela, I'm so sorry. But this one's also done by Michaela. Maybe that's why I love it so much. But truly, truly stunning. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. Let me know what you guys are reading. Let me know if you guys have read any of these books, what you thought about them. If you haven't read Isabel Ibanez, I'll say it one more time. Put her on your list. And low-key Sabaa Tahir. I know I haven't read it yet, but I'm excited. I've heard really great things. I think it's going to be a fun adventure, so I'm excited to let you guys know how that goes. Salam, editing list coming at you. I did start an Ember in the Ashes last night, and I think I'm at like page 80-ish now, and it is so good. Like, I haven't read anything like this. It's very unique. It's supposed to be based on like Roman Empire kind of tropes, like the slavery and like that type of stuff. So I would say like read up on your trigger warnings and things before you get into the book. Like in the first couple of chapters, there are a couple things where I was already like, oh, okay, it's not like graphic or anything like that. At least it's not so far, but they do mention. No, it gets a bit rough. It gets a bit rough already, and they do mention some things which are like triggering and violent or violating. So, and I think with what we know about the Roman times, it's not going to get any better. So I would say that if you're like more easily triggered, then definitely look up those trigger warnings. But otherwise, put it on your list. It's giving right now. I'm excited to see how these characters develop. Like, I'm so into it, actually. So, yeah, I will say that. Anyways, bye. Yeah, I hate ending videos because I don't know what to say, but I feel like that's all. Thanks for watching. Assalamu alaikum.